A pen? You got your peeps around you there. Okay. All right, Lillian wants to invest $5,000, 7 years at that interest rate. Calculate how much interest will the investment have earned at maturity. Maturity is a term to say at the end, right? When it matures. It's simple interest. That's where we're at right now. So I'm going to use this one. I equals PRT. I encourage you to do a little inventory. Before you do that, 7 years, it's already in years, so we're good. Rate is supposed to be turned into a decimal, meaning what that means is you have to divide it by 100. You can't have the percent symbol next to it. Principal is 5,000, and that's what they're asking for. So basically, it's just 5,000 times 0.0435 times 7. And I have my handy dandy key here. You will get 1522.5. So here's something new. I will not take marks away today, but when it's money, you have to have 2 decimals. Okay? Most of you know me already. Every time you see one of these next to an answer that's a rounding error, you lose half a mark. Every time you see a U next to an answer, like I might put a check mark, but then a U following it, that means that you're losing a unit error. So if you don't have a dollar sign, only the final answer. I don't care about anything else, just the final answer. And then N is notation. So if you're using the equal sign wrong, if you just keep on going equals, 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 and it actually isn't equal to each other, the left side is not equal to the right side, then you would lose that. Or if you go y equals and you forget the y equals on your equation, that'll be notation. Another one is you may see RE. That just means rounding early. You're rounding way too early, like you're rounding right at the beginning, resulting in your final answer to be off. So that's the same, it's half a mark off, okay? Now, these are called communication errors, meaning you didn't communicate your answer properly. You know what you're doing, but your answer hasn't been communicated properly. You could have 20 of these circles on one page. I will only take off 1 mark once for that page. I will indicate that every time you make a rounding error, I'll go R circle, right? U circle, like I'll make sure you know you made a mistake. But for that one page, you're only going to lose 1 mark. And the reason why I don't take more off, because now it shows that it almost seems like you don't know what you're doing, and that's not the case, right? So I want you to learn to not commit those infractions or like the communication errors. Try to be thorough there. And in applied, folks, 99% of the time there should be units attached to your answer. It's word problems. It's heavy on word problems, so there will be some sort of unit attached to it. Okay? Pre-cal, oftentimes like, hey, simplify this, graph this, right? It's a little bit more discrete, but here we have units almost everywhere. So make sure you add that 0. Make sure you just have 2 decimals for money, and then you'll always get it right every single time. Okay, 1.5 for this. So how would I mark this? I would basically give you 1 mark for correct substitutions and half a mark for your final answer. If you got the final answer, you get 1.5, right? You don't have to worry about it. But let's say your substitution is wrong. You forgot to turn your percent to a decimal. I would take off half a mark. If you have another mistake, take off another half mark. Right? So 1.5 for that. B, what's the future value? I would like you to use this. Okay, so it's 5,000 plus 1522.50. So you end up having this much money at the end. That's the future value. That's all of it. Your money that you put in and the interest that you've earned, that's the future value of your investment. What's that? Oh, I thought I was off. I do make mistakes. Yeah, if you get the same answer, did you use a different formula? Yeah, the P1 plus RT? Sure, it works. It's the same thing. Okay, it's just a little bit more work. C, what's the rate of return? The rate of return, you take your future value and you subtract what you've put in, the principal, okay? And you divide that by the initial amount times 100. Sorry, you can't see that, there we go. And so if you do this, you end up with 1522.50 divided by 5,000 times 100, and you get 30.45%. 1 mark. So just clearly indicate your final answer and take off half a mark if you made a small mistake, take off a full mark if you completely botched it, right? And one more thing, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, we do follow through errors. So if you made a mistake here, it's not like everything else is going to be wrong, okay? We're going to honor this value, and then it's like, okay, you're adding that, okay, good. You're still using this number here, like we're looking at follow through. So you wouldn't lose all marks, okay, as long as you show us your work. That's why it's important to show work. All right, keep going. Trevor purchased a 5-year GIC. This right here, you should know right away that's principal, okay? You purchased it, you're saying, here's my 5-year GIC, and it's $20,000. You end up having this much in the account. That is A. That's your future value. Calculate the interest rate of the GIC stated as a percentage. They want R, right? IPRT. Time is 5 years, so no need to convert anything. Rate is what's unknown. Principal is the 20,000. Interest, they don't explicitly say it, but you have enough information to figure out how much interest was earned, correct? Let's say you missed it. You're like, oh, Mr. Erickson, I don't know that either. There's 2 unknowns. Which formula would you use? You would use the other formula, right? A is equal to P1. So that's okay. If you missed it, that is okay. You should still be able to figure it out. It's a bit more work. So I will go 21,450. You should show this work so you know where you got the number from. That's how much interest was earned to go from here to there. And so R is unknown. So if you use the formula, interest is 1450, principal is 20,000, R is unknown, time is 5. Okay? So it's basically 1450. 5 times that is 100,000. 100,000 R. You divide both sides by 100,000. Cancel that out. You get 0.0145, right? It says as a percentage. So I would say if you get to here, I would already give you 2 marks. So 1 mark for substitution and 1 mark for correct work to get to here. If you multiply that by 100, you get 1.45%. You could, this is to get the full 2.5 for this question. Right? So, Mr. Erickson, what does that mean? What if I substituted 1 number wrong here? I would say today, I would say take off a full mark, but then we're going to honor the rest. We're going to give you this mark, and we're going to give you the half mark for turning it into a percentage. Okay? So that's how I would mark that. B, what's the rate of return? You don't need to show me the formulas. You can jump straight into substituting. Okay? You don't need to write out the formula if you don't want to. Rate of return, where are we at here? It's going to be this minus that, right? At the top here. So why don't we just go ahead and go 1450 already? It is what you earned. It's the interest, correct? Divided by how much I started with times 100. So that ends up being 7.25%. That is worth a mark. Okay? I'm just going to show you real quick if you had picked the other formula, what it would look like. I'm not going to actually solve it. So if you said, oh, there's two unknowns, I have to use this one. You do know the future value. You do know P, and it's 1 plus R times 5. So I divide both sides by 20,000. And then I subtract 1 from both sides, and then it ends up being, you divide both sides by 5, you still get 1.45%, regardless of which way you do it, okay? So keep that in mind. So how many marks is this out of? 1, 2, 3.5, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this page is worth 7. That's what the AC is going to be out of. It's going to be out of 7. The back side, I'm just going to use that as a lesson. And I saw quite a few of you writing quite a bit, which is awesome. I like to see that. Okay, so put a mark down out of 7. Have your first and last name on this first page. And then we're going to go to the back side. Make sure you don't throw away your ACs, okay? All right, explain the importance of diversifying your investment portfolio. I'm just going to pause here. Explain the importance of diversifying. It protects you from losing. If whatever you wrote kind of jives with what I'm writing here, then leave it, okay? It protects you from losing all your money. Ideally, you should have a balanced portfolio. Have some in high risk, medium risk, and low risk. Exactly how you're going to decide on that, that's on you, right? But you should probably not have everything in one, okay? I'm just going to see here, how does the risk, yeah. I would like to add one more thing here. I'm just thinking, how can I do that concisely? How does diversifying, high risk investment or funds. Let's talk about the high risk funds. Will yield higher returns. While low risk funds offset any losses from high risk funds. So I hope that kind of summarizes. I would love if you somehow, short and sweet, add this to your study sheet. Okay? Make it short and sweet. Don't like write this much. I wouldn't write this much. Try to have some keywords that help you out. Okay? Keep going here. How does the risk factor of an investment usually affect your rate of return? A higher risk will always result in a potential higher return. The more you're willing to risk, that's why credit card companies charge. Anybody know how much interest the interest rate is for a credit card? Does anybody have a credit card in here? You know the interest rate, Buzz? What is it? 23%, 24%, it's insane. A loan, just to give you a loan is like 7% from the bank for a car, 7, 6, 7, somewhere in there. Somewhere in there. Whereas a credit card is 24%. Why do credit cards charge so much interest? Because they're willing to risk. They're risking. They honestly, I get offers almost every day. Hey, you're pre-approved for this credit card. Just take it. What if I go and blow it all, right? Like, what if I go and buy whatever I want, then don't pay it back? Sure, it's going to affect my credit score and whatnot, but they're risking. They're literally throwing money out there, hoping that you'll spend it and then pay that interest rate back, right? Like they want to make money off of you, okay? So that's kind of like a high risk investment. Like if you invest in credit cards, in credit card companies, that's how they make a lot of money, okay? How should your investment portfolio change as you get closer to retirement? I would say talk about risk. Let's talk about risk. I will just say this. If you're younger, you can have this is high risk and low risk. Okay? When you're younger, if you think of this as your money, you can sway it a bit heavier on the high risk if you want. Okay? Is it always going to be a triangle? No, it's not always going to be a perfect triangle, but that's kind of what happens when you're younger. That's what you would want to do. Why is that? Because if you lose money, you have time to make up for it. Like I check I was talking about gold, right? Did I tell you about gold? I was doing so well, and the last couple of days, it's like it tanked. Like one day it went down. It's like the biggest drop in 40 years. Okay. But I'm like, don't panic, just hang in there. Sure enough, the next couple of days it went up again. It was down yesterday by a little bit, but you know what I mean? Like you're not so worried about, oh, I'm going to retire tomorrow, okay? So that's why you're able to keep it there, and then you take advantage of the potential gain, right? If you get, when you're older, this is probably like very good. Your portfolio should look a little bit more like this. Okay? Meaning you should probably not have a lot of your money in like stock market. Sure, if you have room to lose it all, like if you've done well, you saved up a lot of money, sure, put some in high risk, continue to take advantage of the potential gains, but you should probably start moving more of your money into the low because you want to have enough to like live after retirement. Okay? So that's when it comes to the risk, that's what your portfolio should kind of mirror, okay? That's it. So